House, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.
All the melons, you can pretty much still plant all the melons. I would focus more on smaller melons, so you can still do a watermelon. And I would recommend a seedless small watermelon. And we were talking at one of the breaks about the seedless watermelon. How do we get a seedless watermelon?
Yeah, and versus cantaloupe.
Versus a cantaloupe, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a seedless cantaloupe. That's a good question. But I know on watermelon, we can get that.
Is it like a mule where it's cross-pollinated?
Exactly. And to give you the specifics, so there's actually, they're called diploid. There's a diploid type, and you won't see it from the outside. You can't tell from the outside. It's more about genetics. It's got 22 chromosomes. So you've got a diploid crossed with a tetraploid, which has 44 chromosomes. The resulting hybrid is what they call it's a 33 chromosomes, a tetraploid, and those ones are sterile. With the even number of chromosomes, you end up with a sterile seed. So it doesn't actually produce a seed. The plant itself is sterile. And they still kind of produce. So seedless is kind of a misnomer because you will find even in a seedless watermelon, you'll have little seed-like things in it, but they'll be white, and they never actually mature fully to a point that they'll be a viable plantable seed. And especially if they're surrounded by themselves. And so you want to make sure that if you are doing seedless watermelons, don't plant a seedless watermelon next to some other seeded watermelons, because it is possible that it will go back to a seeded watermelon again. It'll cross-pollinate and actually make some viable seeds. Much less quantity than any others, but a true viable watermelon that's seedless is not going to produce any seeds for you to grow next year. It's got to be a cross. It's a first-gen cross between a 22 chromosome and a 44 chromosome, a tetra and a diploid. That's kind of how they work.
And then you don't have any seeds to spit at your buddies.
No, I mean, what fun is that? But it's a lot of fun having a good seedless watermelon. And most seedless watermelons are a little bit smaller in size, which is actually better for this time of year, starting to get those planted, because they'll mature a bit quicker and they won't get overheated. Because you have those really big watermelons, they're harder to keep hidden, because a slightly hidden watermelon actually ripens better than one that's fully exposed to the sun. And if you can keep them kind of covered a little bit in the green foliage up until about 2 weeks before they're fully, they're ripening out, that's ideal. But as soon as they start to ripen fully, then they sweeten up actually in the sun. So it's they want to stay in the shade as long as possible.
And if you're paying attention, and you're buying your watermelon at the store, there's no reason you can't get a local watermelon. We produce a lot of watermelons here, and I mean they're from the field to the store.
Yeah,
1 day turnaround.
Pretty much. Most of your watermelons that we're getting here are going to be local. Unfortunately, the radius for local is about 500 miles, and that may get you into Mexico, and it may say organic, but we don't actually know. They just put the label on it, and it's approved as it gets across the border. So just a heads up on some of that stuff. But mostly in Mexico, they do grow organically. It's more of the methods that they use down there. So, but grow your own. It's so much better.
Rosie on the House, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.